Good to see you, Coach.
You as well.
Couple of fall ball weeks in the book. I know it's a pretty long one because you guys are going to wrap up right before Thanksgiving. How has everything been going? It seems like this group is really starting to gel together, even though they haven't really known each other for a very long time.
Good. Before I get into baseball, I just want to give a shout out to JJ and the women's volleyball team. Absolutely killing it. Wednesday night, they got a big game against TCU, so come support those guys. Or support the ladies and JJ. They're killing it. So I think they deserve everyone coming out to that. It's been awesome to watch them. So, but as far as baseball is concerned, yeah, we have a lot of new faces, a lot of talented guys that we were able to acquire in the transfer portal to supplement who we have returning. And now we're starting to inter squad and do those type of things throughout the week and find out where we're at and find out where guys best fit and where their roles are ultimately going to be, and jobs are on the line. They're competing hard right now, so it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Hey, Coach Jake Sloan, Sun Devil Source. With how many newcomers you have, how do you feel like the clubhouse is kind of gelling together over the course of the summer and fall so far? That
part of it's been great. There seems to be a lot more accountability this year with these guys. The effort level has been through the roof, and there are a bunch of guys. The ones that we did bring in are adapting very quickly, and they're the right type of kids that want to come in, and they're here for the right reasons. They want to come to a program that puts a big value on winning and doing things the right way, and ultimately can catapult themselves to the next level. They've just been all the additions have been great so far.
Hey, Coach. Can you speak a little bit to the development of the schedule and how you believe your team's going to fare this season?
Yeah, the schedule we just completed. It's a difficult one. We've challenged ourselves this year. We have several tough games that are really going to test us. We open up with University of Omaha and St. John's mixed in the midweek. We have UConn, who's always very tough, before we go down to Globe Life. And on the way to Globe Life, we're stopping at Oklahoma and playing a double midweek on the road, which will be tough. And then we have 3 SEC games down in Globe Life as well, with Mississippi State, Tennessee, and A&M. So we're going to be tested. We're going to be tested early and often, throughout our non-conference schedule and our conference schedule, of course. So big home weekends, opening the conference home weekend against TCU at home. Later in the year, we have Okie State coming in town, amongst some other real tough weekends. So we got our work cut out for us for sure, but strength of schedule won't be an issue this year for sure.
Hey, Willie. Given the MLB draft last year and losing a lot of the core guys on the team from last year, are there any newcomers, transfers that stick out to you early on?
Yeah, there's been a handful, and we had a phenomenal draft last year with 9 guys going in the top 10 rounds. That's the good part. The bad part was they're pretty much all of our whole entire lineup either graduated and or got drafted, including our Friday and Saturday night starter and one of our back end pieces in the bullpen. So we've had to replace those guys, but I'm really excited about the guys we brought in. We were able to bring Cole Klecker back home. He was a kid that went to TCU that we lost the recruiting battle out of the gates, but we were able to get him back this year. So he's an experienced guy with a lot of experience under his belt, and has pitched in Omaha as a freshman. So he's been great. Having him back, Austin Rolig is a transfer from Utah, who is a phenomenal third baseman for them. Done a really good job so far. Dominic Longo, Dominic Smaldino. We're going to look really good getting off the bus. We got some physical dudes that look good getting off the bus, and we're coaching them up on getting better. And PJ Mutsaritis, another kid from Cal, has done a good job. Cohen Nikolai behind the plate is another one. And then of course we got several arms that we brought in that are lighting it up so far this fall that we're excited about. Alex Overbay is one that really sticks out, that's been throwing it really well so far this fall.
And then a follow-up. Given that Harry and Carlone came back, what does that say about the program, and how impressed have you been with them this fall so far?
That's huge, not only as a statement for the program, but the health of it, and also the culture that we're building. Those are guys that I don't think batted an eye about it. Carlone is diehard. He loves it here, and I think Harry's another local kid that are just doing outstanding, along with Josh Butler and Wyatt Halverson. Those are guys that, we're building this thing with a lot of local kids, which obviously we want to do. And then the guys that we do happen to lose in the recruiting battle are coming back because they realize how special this place is. So having those guys come back and being a part of it, and having our main two guys with Cole and Landon coming back and announcing that was huge for the program and just the direction we're going.
Hey, Willie. Chris Carmen, son of a source. Sort of a two-parter. Your coaching tenures overlap like the most disruptive period in college baseball history, probably. What has that been like trying to keep pace with that? And then the second part would be, with some of these rules changes this year, scholarships, revenue share, et cetera, how well positioned do you think that you are for the season and the future?
Yeah, it's been interesting, I guess, as I came on board the first year, and then with all the different major rule changes we've had each year, with the transfer portal year one, and then NIL opening up year two, conference realignment year three. It's just been a whirlwind. I'm like, man, this is a crazy world that we're in. And, speaking with other coaches throughout the country, they're like, man, you picked the absolute craziest time to get into college sports. And I'm like, I didn't know any different. So, but yeah, it's been crazy. And trying to learn the landscape and all the adjustments that we've had to make. And it has been a challenge. I'm not going to lie and sit here and say it's been all roses and unicorns, but it's been difficult. But I think given all that, we've still had not the success ultimately that we want to have yet on going deep into the postseason, but we have had a lot of success in developing our guys and getting them to the next level. We've had 27 guys drafted in our 4 years here already, so that remains a staple of what ASU is all about, is getting our guys to the next level and giving them the opportunity. So that's been, there has been a lot of positives as well. But as we're positioned now with the full allotment of scholarships, it's been extremely helpful, and it gets us into a lot of those conversations that we couldn't get in before, and whether or not that ultimately is getting us to land some of these guys, I think it definitely has an effect, especially in the transfer portal. And then, of course, having the allotment of rev share and stuff like that certainly helps out as well. Are we there yet against, some of the big boys? From that standpoint, it's always going to be an uphill battle, but we are definitely in a much better position than we have been the past few years.
And as a follow-up, how challenging is it to craft a strategy on the talent acquisition piece of it with all of these ever-changing dynamics?
Well, the biggest challenge for us is the guessing game on who's returning, who's leaving, the Major League Draft, who's getting drafted, who's not getting drafted, and that comes after the portal closes. So, that's a big headache, right? And when you're trying to figure out, am I going to lose any incoming high school kids? What positions am I going to be losing? Where am I going to be short? You're just kind of throwing darts in the dark, trying to guess on how many players. And then, of course, now with the roster limit cap of 34, you're really up against it, as far as you got to be right on your guessing. And you try to take your best educated guess with, again, the timing of the draft is made it very challenging. And then the date that the transfer portal closes is challenging. And like I said, ultimately the unknown on whether or not kids are going to leave or who's going to leave, and that part of it has just really made the job very interesting at times. So, but on the same token, we just continue to try to go after the right type of kids, bring them here, create a culture where they want to be here and want to continue to getting better, and as long as the trajectory of the program keeps going the direction we're in, I'm hoping the later runs in the postseason certainly start coming our way.
Coach, good morning.
Good morning.
In the summer, your pitching staff, in 223 innings, I believe, had a 3.55 ERA. How much stock do you put into that, in that it could transfer into the season?
Well, I think we had a couple guys go out this summer and do extremely well. Josh Butler and Wyatt Halverson really did well up in the Cape, which is, still the cream of the crop, the best of the best kind of go up there. And to see their success has been great, and hopefully those guys continue to mature and keep getting better. Cole Collar-Lone had a phenomenal summer as well, not only up there, but for Team USA when he pitched for them. Guys had a lot of success. I think that goes into, the work that Jeremy Accardo and the staff are putting into those guys, so they really are understanding their abilities and what they're capable of doing. And then going out and having success in the summer has just been huge, right? So now we're giving them a little bit of a rest before they're starting to crank back up here next week with our inter squads. So, but seeing their success has been phenomenal.
That kind of leads me to my next question. How much does Jeremy Accardo and the staff just improve these guys?
Well, I think, when you look at the completion that we've had, thanks to several donors with the pitching lab and the tools that we've been able to put together the past couple of years, and then obviously his knowledge on being able to coach those guys and understand the repertoires, understand the development process of why to throw certain pitches in certain counts and what makes their pitches tunnel better. Those are things that we've been itching to get done in the past handful of years, and now that the lab is finally complete, I think it has certainly allowed those guys to develop and see real time, what they're doing, so they can change the grip on certain pitches to get more depth on it. That's just been that combined with Jeremy's knowledge and his ability to coach those guys. I think it's been very beneficial. We made a nice step forward last year, and again, a lot of those guys were freshmen the year before, so I think they got beat up a little bit as freshmen, and then maturing the following year a little bit, going into sophomore year, and now their junior year. Hopefully, they'll be primed to make a huge impact for the pitching staff.
Hey, Coach, Adam Keaton, Inferno Intel. You guys were obviously very active in the transfer portal, and you talked a little bit about that guessing game of not really being 100% sure on guys. Just what is that evaluation process like for you? What are the exact traits that you are looking for in those transfers?
Well, I think we had a lot of success. We were the number one non-SEC team in the transfer portal. I think we finished 10th or 11th ranked. Whether that means anything or not, who knows? But bottom line, we did do very well in the portal. There is a kind of a formula that we look at on the things that are important to us. Obviously, walks to strikeout ratio is big. Overall stuff, of course, with all the technology and data now with spin rates and vertical drop angles and all the other stuff that I still don't quite understand, but Jeremy does. That's why I have him as my pitching coach. So those traits that they look at, I think, in extension and all that stuff on the arms are huge. But at the end of the day, it's, what conference are they playing in? What kind of success are they having there? Again, walks to strikeouts, the big one for me. I want to make sure that they're throwing the ball over the plate as much as possible. And then from the offensive standpoint, again, strikeout rate is big versus, power numbers, what positions we're looking for specifically. Versatility, those things that were, again, when you go to 34-man roster, you need those guys that can play different positions and move around the diamond a little bit if necessary. And then, of course, the draft year, right? Are we going to have them for 1 year or 2 years, ideally, or if we're going to go after a junior, and then we spend all this time to get him committed, and then 2 weeks later he gets drafted and doesn't show up. I mean, that's it's like beating your head into a wall, right? You just you're wasting a lot of time that way. So very in-depth process, but nonetheless, we did very well this year.
Coach, what did making the tournament do for you to get such a high recruiting class in the transfer portal, just having that national attention that recruits saw?
I think it was just continued to take steps forward. And again, I was disappointed in how we finished. I thought we had an opportunity to do a little more damage than we did. But when you take a step back and look at it, there's been progress every year. We keep taking steps forward and making those gains every year. And, we knew it wasn't going to be easy when we first got here. And it's been a process, and it's been a challenging one. But given the landscape and the difficulty of the landscape with, now having NIL and all these different things that we're up against, it's been challenging. And with all that, we're still making progress and going in the right direction every year. So long as we keep making those strides and doing what we're supposed to do and as I touched on, giving these guys the opportunity to play at the next level and at the rate that we've been able to. All those things are important pieces to our program that we are able to sell upon, right? And we're going to continue to do that, and hopefully we keep making progress going forward.
Quick follow-up to that. What do you want to see from your returners who got a taste of postseason baseball, and just in terms of their hunger to get back there and achieve more?
Just the expectation of doing that and understanding the details of things. When we are practicing, that these details of the practice matter because they get exposed in the postseason and late in the year. Again, we've adjusted a little bit of some things that we do because I felt like we faded a little bit at the end of last year, and really putting more emphasis on the strength and conditioning piece of things. We have a phenomenal strength coach in Ted Henson. We gave him more days early in the fall to just work strictly on getting these guys stronger and more physical so we can last and be peaking at the end of the season versus fading. I think that's a big thing. So that, along with just their overall leadership of the guys returning, the expectations of being there, and just the expectations of doing things the right way.
Coach Michael Carasino, Pitchfork Lunch. When you talking about the pitching staff, the guys that came back and the new guys that came in, I mean, just listen to the guys last week that came back. How much, with what they did last year, and you were able to go to a number of guys, how do you feel that those pitchers are going to help the new guys coming in?
I think having a couple of those staple guys returning, the JB and Carlone and Halvey, those guys that are returning, Easton Barrett, that have experience with us, that understand how Jeremy likes to do things, what the expectations are from us and from the staff, and then supplementing those guys in with a lot of really nice arms that we have brought in. I'm really, really encouraged so far with the depth that we have and the nice arms that we have. Now it's just a matter of honing them in and making sure they're in the strike zone enough and not giving up the free passes and those things that ultimately are the Achilles heel, especially playing at Muni. Work ahead, throw strikes, put the weak contact hopefully early in the count, and having some good power arms. However, it's going to shake out, whether or not Cole and Overbay and those guys are at the front end or the back end. We'll see how it pans out, but having those power arms is going to be nice.
And then to follow up on the portal, because like you said, I know obviously it closes and then the draft happens. Has there been, I know another rule change, but any talk between you and like other coaches just to switch that to where the portal would close after the draft?
Well, I think there's been some hearsay and some talk with the new MLB agreement coming up and having to renegotiate. I think that topic has been discussed at length on whether or not they're going to move the draft back up or not. I'm not sure. I would love it if they did, because I think all the college coaches would love it if they did and brought it back to when it used to be kind of early June. I think the MLB scouts would love it because they're working an extra 6 weeks throughout the summer now as well. So I think it makes it better, not only for that reason, but even the guys that get drafted get a chance to go out and play that summer immediately versus having it be at the end of their season and whatnot. So the bottom line, there has been coaches that have discussed that, I think, to a significant detail, but whether or not that happens, I think, is up to MLB.
Doug Franz Unplugged podcast. First of all, how's the family?
Family's great, man. We just had family weekend this weekend for the football game. Result wasn't great and what we wanted for football, but the atmosphere was outstanding and had a lot of fun hanging out with them. So that was great.
And I didn't have a question until you talked about your favorite subject of vertical drop, pitching lab, and everything else. I have just like your philosophy on coaching nowadays, I have a strange theory that I don't think Greg Maddux would get drafted anymore. I mean, it's chase triple figures, Tommy John, chase, and it goes back and forth. And more people are interested, sure, improve your stuff, but they're not getting people out sometimes, and they're just injuring themselves. How do you keep agents at bay, keep family at bay, teach kids actually how to pitch and get people out while encouraging them to get better without killing themselves?
Yeah, I think all that is done. If you look at, knock on wood, look at our track record and the health that we've had with our pitching. We haven't had a surgery since I've been here. And I'm not afraid to say it and jinx myself just because I'm confident in what we're doing and how we build up our arms properly. The job that, again, our strength coach does, building those guys up, our trainer, Jesse Lohman, and Jeremy, they all work very well together on ramping them up properly. The throwing programs that they're given, and the amount of innings that we do or don't tax them in the fall, we ramp them up appropriately. So we've had a lot of success with that and keeping our guys healthy. And then again, just the teaching process on, like you're talking about, on what makes the repertoire good, or why are they getting, if they're having swing and miss on a certain pitch, why are we only throwing that 20% of the time, right? We should be throwing that pitch more. Those are the analytic stuff that, again, I'm warming up to, I guess. I'm more old school where it's, man, you just got to have a mentality and go attack the strike zone. I don't think that'll ever change. But to see what to attack the strike zone with, I think is what Jeremy is doing a great job of getting these guys to develop the repertoires and understand the pitchability that they have.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned a little bit about just like the strength of schedule. Just how critical is it to face some of those big name schools before conference play?
I think it's big. It exposes your weaknesses and lets you know where you have to get better before conference gets there. And you can tee up some patty cakes if you want on the weekends, and then all of a sudden once conference starts, you get a reality check really quick if you're not prepared for the things that good teams are going to do to you. So I think I don't want to say we've addressed that, but we've challenged ourselves in the schedule that we better be ready to go. And if not, we're going to get humbled real quick. So I think we have 7 SEC teams on the schedule this year, or games on the schedule. That's going to be a challenge for us, along with great competition in our own conference in the Big 12. So strength of schedule won't be there won't be a shortage of it. So hopefully if we can make it through that and play well enough and get into the postseason, we'll be pretty battle tested.
And then just a quick little curveball. I know the Mariners are really close to you. Just what'd you think of their run this year?
Man, I was really, really happy for them, but obviously disappointed. Obviously, Game 7, I think we all meaning the Northwest people, we're hoping to see them pull it off. But fun run. That city deserves it. The fans up there deserve it. I was really happy to see the run that they had, and just to see that city electric again was pretty cool.
Hey, are there any goals that you set for this so-and-so new team, either for yourself as a coach or for the player standpoint? And have they accomplished those goals from the end of fall ball, or they still need to accomplish those goals?
I think the biggest thing, tough to set goals necessarily in the fall, I think, but because everyone's trying to win a job and see where they fall into the pecking order of everything. But, the overall goal for us as a staff is to create a championship environment where people hold each other accountable to a championship standard. And if we do that, then I believe, I don't really like putting numbers goals on things. More just process goals on things, to where we do attention to detail, do things the right way when we're practicing, have smooth practice plans that flow and maximize the amount of time we get on the field together. Those are the important things in the fall. Obviously, when we get into the season and start playing games, wins are important, right? We want to chalk up as many as we can, and we have our own goals inside the clubhouse that obviously we aspire to have, and I think those go without saying that those are the standards of our program, that we want to make a deep run in the postseason.
And then going off of what you said earlier, talking about a lot more of you growing your staff. Jeremy Accardo is coming back on his second year. How has his confidence contributed to the guys' confidence on and off the field?
I mean, I think you see those guys understanding themselves a little bit better, and just what they do. There's times where Jeremy's always confident and positive with those guys, and sometimes I'm like, man, they need an ass chewing. Let's go, But he's always he's always energetic and positive with them, and does a phenomenal job. And those kids they breathe confidence, which that's what you want out of those guys. So again, just continuing to stress the importance of attacking the strike zone, win the race to 2 strikes, and then finish. Is kind of the mantra that those guys have down there. So anxious to see how that plays out.
I had one on Finn and then one on you personally. Finn, I think, was the only one to come back, or one of the only 1 or 2 people to come back after getting drafted to choose you guys. Comes over from JUCO, obviously a lot there, but not a lot of, not really a known entity, given he hasn't really played D1 yet. What are your thoughts? What were your thoughts on being able to get him back from the draft?
You can see why the Dodgers took him in, I think, the 18th or 19th round. You can see why. There's a lot of upside there, a lot to like. Long, lanky body with good extension, and can run it up there in the mid to upper 90s when he's going good. And he's just a great kid too. So he's working extremely hard. And back to praising Jeremy and everything he's doing with these guys. He's really done a good job developing his off-speed stuff here in the past couple months, which is something that he needed definitely to go along with the power fastball. So. But there's a lot to like there, and there's a lot to dream on, and a lot that continues to get better throughout the fall. And
did you have any thoughts about your personal contract situation? I know still in the rookie deal. It's kind of a similar situation to what Bobby's going through, and Graham had said with that, his back's kind of against the walls. Is that how you feel right now, that, there needs to be an improvement from just getting to the tournament now moving forward?
There is... how do I answer this one? Talk to Graham, because there's something that should be happening soon. So.
We've talked a lot about the transfer portal class and everybody new coming in. What have you noticed from the guys that are coming back, particularly in the lineup, a guy like Landon Hairston, maybe, that have kind of stepped up into leadership roles now with their 2nd or 3rd year with the program?
To me, that's huge. Again, those guys stepping up and being staples in the lineup, having that experience and returning is huge, right? Losing a lot of our lineup to the draft, and guys that are aged out and graduated, having a returning guy with that type of experience and that type of success as a freshman, just kind of being one of those staples in the lineup that you can count on every day. That's going to put together a professional at bat. So just extremely excited about him coming back.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about former alumni that's come back into the Valley, Joe Lampe. He's been tearing it up in the Arizona Fall League. What can you kind of say to his development and what he kind of meant to the program when he was here?
Lamp's awesome, man. I'm excited to see him having success and doing what he does. He I think the day that this season finished up, he was down at Muni, walking around the clubhouse again. He bleeds ASU, which is awesome. And then having him go out to the Fall League and having a lot of success, he's getting close. I told him I don't know what the numbers are, but I think it's like 92% of guys in the Fall League make it to the big league, so no pressure. But if I know Lamp like I think I do, he's getting close.
Coach, last year, one of the final games in the season was in the Big 12 championship at Globe Life. This year, it's up and Surprise. How do you feel that that's going to bring an advantage to Arizona State?
Well, I think we don't have to travel as far, which is nice, and then the weather will let everybody else come in our town and melt. We'll be used to it. So but I think it'll be regardless, it'll be a great structure, be a good format, and be very competitive again. So, the Globe Life tournament, it was awesome. Obviously we didn't have the success we wanted to, but the overall tournament was great, and hopefully we can continue that out at Surprise.
And then on Alex, I know you and Lyle, I believe, played on the Diamondbacks together. Was there any conversations with him about bringing Alex to Arizona State?
No, we didn't. Not until he got in the portal. He went in the portal, and then I actually did talk to his dad a little bit, just about what was important for Alex and Lyle and his family, it was we had a dogfight with some other schools with him, of course, and because he's a very good arm. But at the end of the day, we were able to win that battle, which was nice.
We'll go Tim, and then you.
Willie, a couple questions. First of all, with Cole, what will be the factors that determine whether you're going to use him at the back end again or at the front end? Because it seems like he's a great weapon, whichever role you choose for.
Yeah, it's a nice nice to have that, I guess, discussion, and I want to give him every opportunity to start. I think on the weekend, and the biggest factors will be, can he hold his stuff, throughout 2 or 3 times through the lineup. I think is going to be the ultimate big thing, and we've seen him go carve a lineup pretty good one time through, and for 3 innings, and it's just a matter of can he hold that stuff, through 5, 6, 7 innings. And does he need a third pitch? He's got 2 electric pitches right now. Does he need a third one if we're going to face a lineup 2 or 3 times? And the rest of it is kind of how the rest of the staff shakes out. Ultimately, what's going to make our team the best. And Cole doesn't have an ego when it comes to that. I think he wants to do whatever is going to help our team win. And if that means he's on the front end and giving us 5 or 6 innings on a start, great. If that means we can use him multiple times on a weekend in the back end, I love my back end bullpens if they can be good. So, because I've had some shaky ones that haven't been fun. So I know the importance of having the good back end guys that can really close out a game when you have a lead.
If you had a crystal ball and you see him down the road as a pro, where do you think he plays best at the next level?
It's tough to say. The kid just keeps getting better and better. We shut him down after the long summer that he had and threw a lot of innings for us last year, and then had some success up in the Cape before going to Team USA. That was a long summer for him. So we'd kind of shut him down, and he's been doing nothing but work extremely hard in the weight room and throwing iron around and getting stronger. And his first touch and feel pitch the other day was 96 miles an hour, and you're just going, dude, back it down a little bit, man. But that's just, he's like, I'm not trying to throw hard, and it's okay. Well, I mean, that's pretty exciting for him. So the kid just keeps getting better. So I don't know ultimately what the future is for him. I don't want to put a ceiling on him because he could do both. He'd go right now and be a good back end guy, I think, on some big league teams. But I think his aspirations are probably to start, and that's going to be the biggest thing if he can hold his stuff throughout a length of time and go through a lineup 3 times.
One last question. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the Big 12. Wide open last year. West Virginia comes out of nowhere to win the league. Do you see the league as being that wide open again this year?
I think so. I mean, there's been a lot of guys that have lost some players and into the draft and whatnot. I think it's going to be going into it, I can't put my finger on a favorite. Like these guys are going to be the team to beat. I think there's going to be a lot of those. There's a lot of teams that have gotten better. I know it'll be very competitive again, I think, and it'll be anybody's race toward the end. Well, Briggsy's had to be a good teammate this fall because he had a thumb surgery, so he hasn't had any time yet this fall. But you can see just the leadership skills that he possesses, being positive with the guys out there. I mean, he thinks he's a coach, because he can't play, so he's right in my ear almost every practice. I'm like, Briggsy, you got to tone it down a little bit, because he's always got to be talking, which is awesome. But I'm anxious to get him back. He's probably about 2 weeks away from starting to be able to do game stuff again. He's been, already playing doctor and thinks he knows when he should be allowed to be catching. And it's like, no, you still got 2 more weeks, and he doesn't like that very much. So, but bottom line, he's been outstanding. I look for him to take a nice step forward this year. Again, with a couple of young, talented freshmen that are coming in. Tommy Brown has been very good behind the dish, and Cooper Clauser's done a good job, and of course Johnny Garber's back, and we acquired Cohen Nikolai in the portal. So there's a big dogfight behind the plate for playing time, and we got some good problems back there. It's a great question. You know, I think we're gonna have to get more creative, certainly with guys that are able to do multiple things, and if that means guys can play a position and pitch, I think that's going to add a lot more value to these guys. At least give them the opportunity to do so. You know, again 34 on a roster, that's pretty thin, especially going into the fall and trying to have competitive fall games, inter squads against each other with, you know, trying to field two separate teams to play against each other with enough arms. It makes it challenging. So the more guys can do and the better athletes they are that are capable of doing more things, I think that just creates more value for them. You bet.